Imagine an aircraft so smart, so silent, that even the country that built it, the United States, had to stop and take notes. That aircraft exists. It's the F-35 Adir, Israel's customized version of America's most advanced stealth fighter. Over the last decade, this single-seat, single-engine jet has turned into something bigger than a weapon. A test case showing how technology, independence, and urgency can reshape global air strategy. The story of Israel's F-35 isn't only about engineering. It's about mindset. In a region where airspace is tight and threats surround every border, Israel has always lived by one rule: adapt faster than anyone else. When the country joined the F-35 program, it didn't simply buy jets. It bought a foundation and built its own version on top. The Adir, which means mighty in Hebrew, became the first foreign variant of the F-35 family to break free from American software oversight. That decision changed everything. From the outside, an Israeli F-35 looks almost identical to an American one. The sleek frame, the swept-back wings, the hidden intakes, all share the same radar-evading geometry. But what lies beneath the skin is uniquely Israeli. Engineers replaced portions of the avionics suite, rewrote parts of the code, and inserted their own electronic warfare brain. They built a national mission system capable of talking to Israeli-made missiles, drones, and intelligence networks. The result is a fighter that doesn't just fly stealth missions. It builds its own picture of the world while it's in the air. When the first two Adirs arrived at Nevatim Air Base in 2016, they were more than just new planes. They were symbols of sovereignty. Israel became the first country outside the U.S. to operate the F-35 in combat, and the first to modify it independently. That independence mattered. It meant the Israeli Air Force could plan missions, install local upgrades, and execute strikes without waiting for American permission or software updates. In a part of the world where opportunities appear and disappear within minutes, such freedom is priceless. Every inch of the Adir's design serves a single goal: invisibility. The fuselage's sharp angles deflect radar waves, while its special coating absorbs what remains. Even details as small as the screw heads are hidden beneath composite panels. Nothing on the exterior reflects sunlight or radar energy. Israeli technicians maintain the jet's stealth surface with almost surgical care, polishing edges and sealing seams before every flight. Inside hangars at Nevatim, each Adir looks more like a piece of art than a machine built for war. But the real transformation happens inside the cockpit. Gone are the forests of switches and dials found in older fighters. In their place is one massive touchscreen that merges navigation, targeting, communications, and maintenance into a single digital environment. The pilot sits surrounded by data, not to be overwhelmed by it, but to understand everything at once. The Adir's helmet, which costs as much as a small house, lets the pilot see through the jet itself. Tiny cameras placed around the fuselage project a 360-degree image onto the visor. Look down, and you see the ground below. Turn your head, and the horizon follows. It's like wearing the sky. Beneath that calm surface roars the Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine, generating more than 40,000 pounds of thrust. The Adir can sprint beyond Mach 1.6, nearly twice the speed of sound, climb straight into the clouds, and maneuver hard enough to outturn most fourth-generation opponents. Yet Israel's upgrades push it further. New sensors built by local firms detect threats earlier and with greater accuracy. Israeli software filters noise from radar clutter and prioritizes targets by danger level. In essence, the jet thinks ahead, helping its pilot plan not just one move but several in advance. The Adir's first confirmed combat use came in 2018, when the Israeli Air Force announced that the F-35 had already carried out multiple operations across the region. The missions remain classified, but satellite images and intelligence leaks tell the story. Precision strikes deep inside heavily defended areas, completed without a single loss or detection. Foreign analysts were stunned. Israel had proven that the world's newest stealth fighter wasn't just surviving, it was redefining what air dominance meant. For Washington, the news was both validation and revelation. The U.S. had created the F-35 as a multinational platform meant to standardize Western air forces. What Israel showed was that flexibility, not uniformity, produces results. American engineers began studying how Israeli coders streamlined data handling and reduced pilot workload. Within a few years, several software improvements inspired by those lessons made their way into U.S. and allied fleets. Inside the Pentagon, officials quietly praised Israel's creativity. Some even admitted that the Adir represented the F-35's next logical step, a software-defined fighter that evolves continuously instead of waiting for periodic upgrades. The idea caught on. Britain, Italy, and Japan began exploring their own ways to integrate local weapons and cyber defenses. What started as Israel's experiment turned into a global rethink of how to manage stealth aircraft. Survivability has always been Israel's first priority. In a region saturated with radar, missiles, and anti-aircraft batteries, staying alive requires layers of protection. If a missile locks onto an Adir, the aircraft's sensors react instantly, identifying the threat type and deploying the best response, jamming signals, releasing flares, or executing a supersonic turn to break the radar lock. Should the jet sustain damage, its flight control system automatically adjusts to maintain stability. Pilots say it's like flying a machine that wants to live. Security extends far beyond the airframe. Israel treats data like ammunition, guarded, encrypted, and lethal if misused. Every mission log, video feed, and radar echo generated by an Adir is encrypted using local military algorithms. If an aircraft were ever lost, its secrets would remain unreadable. American cyber experts later adopted similar principles for their own stealth programs. In modern warfare, protecting information is as important as shielding metal. The cost of such capability is steep. A standard F-35 costs between $80 and $100 million depending on its configuration. Add Israel's modifications, software, sensors, communications gear, and the figure climbs beyond $120 million per jet. Yet Israel doesn't view that as an expense. It sees it as survival insurance. Each Adir gives the nation the ability to reach any target in the Middle East, day or night, without detection. For a country the size of New Jersey, surrounded by potential adversaries, that level of reach is existential. Perhaps the Adir's most valuable trait isn't its technology, but its independence. Most countries operating the F-35 rely on American infrastructure for updates and mission data. Israel runs its own network entirely separate from the global system. Its Air Force can modify the software, install weapons, and conduct missions without external approval. That independence allows Israel to act within minutes rather than hours, a decisive edge in a fast-changing environment. This approach has also influenced other allies. Nations such as Japan and South Korea, watching Israel's success, began lobbying for greater control over their F-35 software. The idea of a sovereign F-35, one customized for national needs, gained traction across the Western alliance. Israel proved that decentralization doesn't weaken security, it strengthens it. On a global scale, the Adir has quietly shifted how militaries view stealth strategy. For decades, stealth was seen as hardware, radar-absorbing paint, hidden intakes, smooth curves. The Adir demonstrated that true stealth is digital, the ability to manage information faster than the enemy can react. When an Adir enters a hostile zone, it's not just invisible to radar, it's invisible to decision-making. By the time an adversary realizes something is wrong, the jet has already gone. This philosophy, that information dominance equals survival, is now shaping the sixth-generation programs underway in the US, UK, and Japan. Designers talk about adaptive systems, sensor fusion, and data clouds, concepts that Israel has already tested in real combat. The Adir became a live laboratory for the future. Inside Israel, the impact goes beyond the military. The program has fueled domestic tech industries, creating jobs in cybersecurity, avionics, and artificial intelligence. Defense startups collaborate with the Air Force to test algorithms that could one day manage everything from missile avoidance to logistics. Many of those innovations later migrate into civilian technology, traffic control systems, autonomous vehicles, and even medical imaging software. The line between defense and development continues to blur. For the pilots who fly it, the Adir feels less like a tool and more like a partner. They describe the relationship as intuitive. The aircraft senses fatigue, monitors stress levels, and adjusts cockpit lighting to maintain focus. It's constantly checking itself, updating diagnostics mid-flight. Veteran aviators who transitioned from older fighters say it feels like moving from analog to instinct, from flying machines to thinking companions. Yet even with all that automation, human judgment remains at the center. Israel's doctrine insists that technology must amplify, not replace, human decision-making. The pilot sets the goal, the jet handles the mechanics. That balance ensures accountability while unlocking new levels of precision. The Adir isn't just smart, it's obedient. It serves intention, not ego. Around the world, air forces are studying this model. The United States Air Force sees in the Adir a preview of its own next-generation air dominance, NGAD system, a platform where software updates happen in real time, where manned and unmanned systems cooperate seamlessly, and where cyber defense is built in from the start. The British Tempest program and Japan's FX both emphasize open architecture for exactly this reason. What Israel demonstrated through the Adir became a blueprint for the future. Stealth as an ecosystem, not a single machine. Still, technology tells only part of the story. The human factor, the training, the discipline, the creative mindset, gives the Adir its edge. Israeli pilots train under conditions that mimic chaos, surprise threats, electronic interference, unpredictable weather. They learn to trust the aircraft's brain without surrendering their own. Each flight becomes a mental chess match where man and machine share the same goal: outthink the enemy. When the Adir rises into the pale dawn over the Negev desert, its matte surface swallows sunlight. From the ground, it's little more than a shimmer of heat. Within minutes, it's gone. Cruising above hostile borders, unseen and untouchable. Somewhere, a radar operator stares at a blank screen, unaware that history just flew overhead. That's the quiet signature of power in the modern age. Not thunder, but absence. For Israel, the Adir represents peace through capability. The stronger its defenses, the less likely conflict becomes. For the US and its allies, it's a reminder that even the best technology can evolve further through partnership and local innovation. And for the rest of the world, it's proof that small nations can lead big revolutions when they combine urgency with creativity. As the decade progresses, the Adir continues to evolve. Upgrades planned for the mid-2020s include enhanced networking with drones, improved radar range, and new weapons designed specifically for stealth bays. The jet that once surprised America now collaborates with it, feeding real-world data back into global development. In a sense, the circle has closed. The teacher learned from the student, and both became stronger. The legacy of Israel's F-35 Adir stretches beyond any battlefield. It marks the turning point when air power stopped being about physical dominance and became a contest of information. Every nation building a stealth program today, from the US to Japan, from Italy to Australia, is following a path the Adir helped clear. In the end, the lesson is simple. The future of warfare belongs to those who can see without being seen, decide without hesitation, and adapt without warning. Israel's F-35 Adir embodies all three. It is more than metal, code, or speed. It is a message written across the sky in silence. A message that says intelligence, independence, and courage still matter in an age ruled by machines. And somewhere above the desert, an Adir glides home, its sensors cooling, its data uploading into encrypted archives. On the runway, technicians wait in the glow of floodlights, ready to prepare it for another mission. No applause follows, only quiet efficiency. The jet that changed how the world thinks about stealth disappears once again into the shadows, proving, in the simplest way possible, that true power doesn't need to announce itself.